Hello and welcome to the final part of Battletoads Arcade. And Darkstar is joining us.
Yes, in fact, I've always heard about these games, but never got the chance to play them. And now I really want to test my masochism.
Fools.
Well, Darkstar, unfortunately, Pedro beats you to that.
Yeah.
Wait, I couldn't hear you, Jovo. What did you say?
Unfortunately, Darkstar, in terms of masochism, Pedro beats you to it when it comes to recording Battletoads.
Well, honestly, Joba, for me, it's more like using the Xbox One that makes me a masochist of sorts. But I'll save that for a certain Blue Dragon part.
So the ship moves automatically, get it, and you just control where you move
Yeah. How the way it works is, of course, just like in Contra, you point the gun using the D-pad, and the direction of the ship also changes when you point the gun to a certain direction. So basically, it's semi-automatic. Let's say.
Well, hey, on the plus side, you are using an Xbox One controller, I assume.
Well, yeah, this is the Rare Replay is an Xbox One exclusive, so yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, sometimes their older controllers are compatible with some of their games configured.
No, the Xbox 360 controllers, and well, honestly, I hate the Xbox 360 controller. So even if it was, I wouldn't use it. So,
admittedly, you need a special adapter. I'll admit that.
I will never understand what some call me Johnny sees in that controller.
My guess is that he actually likes the D-pad and that it's
the D-pad is a pile of crap.
I know that Pedro's problems with it are different and just doesn't like, for example, as he just mentioned, the D-pad. But to me,
actually, it's not just the D-pad; it's the bulkiness of it. It's so bulky.
To me, it's just the structure of how
I guess it depends on your hands.
I was so used to Sony's controllers, but to see this abomination asymmetrical and everything just feels awkward to play with.
Well, I can tell that the Xbox One controllers feels much better then.
From what I recall, some
the same.
No. It's lighter, it's less bulky, and the D-pad is semi-decent. It's not as good as DualShock, but it's decent. Go ahead.
No, I meant mostly button placement.
Oh, the button placement is basically the same, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pedro, this got me thinking. We should totally play Contra together on Xbox Live.
I don't have Contra on my Xbox. I have Metal Slug XX, if you have that.
I don't have that one, sadly.
Anyway, but yeah, as I was about to say, some people surprisingly do get some use out of the D-pad, but here's the thing. It's only strictly for diagonal movements, because that D-pad has that infamous space in between the diagonal stuff, which can help with diagonal stuff. That's like the one good thing about it, when you think about it.
Joe, we're talking about D-pad. It's clearly a third analog stick.
Yeah, that's exactly my problem with it. It's kind of like one of those rounded circles that just happens to have a D-pad on top of it, and like it's not an actual proper D-pad like you see in Nintendo controllers and stuff like that.
The main problem with it is like, well, it's ironically kind of a genius method if you wanted something that was strictly made for diagonal motion.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to get it straight is when that thing can be a nightmare, especially if you have.
Well, that's just the thing, Jova. If I need to do diagonal, I might as well just use the analog stick. That's just the. I mean.
Well, okay. To give it one thing over the analog stick, the analog stick wasn't always the most accurate with detecting diagonal motions.
I'll just say this, Jova. And remember, in terms of the last console that Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles will be released was the Xbox 360, and by extension Xbox One via backwards compatibility. The PS3 never got Sonic 3 and Knuckles, neither did the modern consoles. So basically, in order to play Sonic 3 legally, imagine playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles with that D-pad.
Oh, well, I kinda did play that since that was one of my first commenters, but you poor thing.
Well, when it comes to playing on PC, I use my Xbox One controllers because the Xbox One controllers work fine. I know now we have an official method of using the DualShock 4 for it, but the Xbox One controller works fine for me, so I'll use that.
Oh my god, hold on.
Not to mention, yeah.
Hold on. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, I'm trying to remember. Sonic 3 Knuckles was one of our first ever commentaries done on the old channel. I'm trying to remember if I even have a 360 control at the time. I think I may have done that thing with keyboard controls.
Oh shit.
One of these, we really need to get at some point to do Sonic 3 Complete, because Sonic 3 Complete is the definitive way of playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles
Are
right
there
now.
any particular differences?
Well, well, basically,
It adds an extra cutscene. It does.
Oh.
not just that. It's not just
whatnot.
that. It's not just that. Actually, it's much more. It's much more than that. Like, no, it's basically a run that basically is basically representing what Sonic 3 would have been if the developers were not forced to split the game in two. Not to mention that it not only does a lot of awesome bug fixes, and it has a lot of extra options. Like, for example, you can play with the Sonic and Knuckles PC soundtrack. You can play with, like, for example,
Alright, I forgot. There's a whole difference in the soundtrack because of Michael Jackson.
Has,
Yeah.
has Sonic 3 Complete still got the Michael Jackson tracks?
It does.
Thankfully.
It's
Basically, Sonic 3
it's a fan
Complete
hack.
also reworks some things, and also Sonic 3 Knuckles also includes the original final boss fight for Sonic, involving Big Arms, which for some reason is absent in Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah, but so
They even added in a new cutscene to explain how he ends up in.
Oh yeah, I love how they did that. And here's another cool thing that I like. You can even skip cutscenes. You know how when you start at Angel Island, you have to see that cutscene of Sonic turning super and stuff. Now in Sonic 3 Complete, if you press start, you skip it. So that's a nice little thing for replace.
That reminds me. There's also an option where instead of having the same Supersonic theme when you turn Super Hyper, instead they speed up the
zone's music. Or another thing that they did in later versions was they actually went out of their way to create a brand new theme, because the Sonic 3 Knuckles doesn't have a super form theme. It just reuses the invincibility theme. But they actually went out of their way to create a new theme, which sounds pretty good actually. Joe, I'm guessing you've played the mobile Kristen Whitehead remakes of Sonic 1 and 2.
Joe?
Yes, I
Okay,
have.
you know how in those remakes you can control Tails by jumping and then pressing up and jump again, so Tails will start flying, even though you can't, even if you're not playing on 2-player. They also implemented that in Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 Complete. So it's just not only that, but it's also so many other cool little customization options. It's just an overall the best way to play the game right now.
I will put it like this. There are some changes I don't care for. I'll be quite honest. I'm one of those people who does prefer my Flying Battery Zone to stay in the Knuckles section.
Well,
Yes, I know that Flying Battery Zone was originally supposed to come after Carnival Nights.
Well, actually, Joe, but you can just leave it at the Knuckles section if you want. You don't have to.
I know about that. I know about that. But when we eventually, get to doing Sonic 3 Complete, I'm guessing we're probably going to show up as many differences as possible.
Well, okay. How about this? We'll just leave it where it was in the original game. Yes, Darkstar, what is it?
Okay.
Can you imagine if we have the same look as SGB does at Kingdom Hearts? We're about to record it, but then they announce the remaster at the last minute.
Oh, hey, reminds me of how Final Fantasy VII, the remake, got announced while we were doing their Final Fantasy VII commentary.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying something, Darkstar?
Yes, I was saying, this level looks like a ton of fun.
Well, it is fun if you're
brutal difficulty.
It is fun if you're playing it emulated on replay like I am with infinite continues. Like if not, then it's a pain because there's way too much shit being thrown at you, and it's so incredibly easy to die.
Shipping.
Then again, compared to the standard beat 'em up section, this is a nice change of pace, and there's a lot of stuff to shoot that way.
Such beautiful explosions.
But yeah. I was saying, knowing us, Pedro, we'll probably do Sonic 3 Knuckles, and then it'll be such a long time before the time we eventually get to Sonic 3 Complete that might as well do a whole separate playthrough of that anyway. We'll just make sure that they're spread apart long enough by distance.
Sure. Or we could just do a let's look at that just shows the differences. Anyway,
Alright.
this boss, a problem with this was that this boss takes forever to die.
Yeah,
because this
it's
boss actually has 2 phases, and we're still in phase 1.
Bosses like these are the reason I hate bosses that don't have health bars. I at least want to know how long I have to finish them so I can know how to strategize.
So yeah, just keep shooting it every time he shows up on screen, and try your best to I guess of
Of these power-ups, which you think is the most useful? I think there's a spread
the
shot.
lightning one. The lightning one, because it's the fastest one.
Deals the most direct damage as well.
Meanwhile, Darkstar is recording his audio from outside.
Also, Jova, you talked about health bar. You're not gonna like a Cuphead in that regard, because not only you don't get a health bar, but if you die and you get a game over, you get later. You get after that in the game over screen how much you went through the boss stage before the actual end, before you actually were able. And most of the time, you get like the game over just as you were close to beating, and the game over pretty much taunts you like that.
So you're telling me that the game taunts you with, oh, here's your boss health bar after you die.
Yeah, you were just so close. Criminal cigar. Oh, I guess this is second phase. It's just in first person.
First you shot his hands off. Don't ask me how that works.
Maybe it's a Nintendo boss.
And okay, basically just keep shooting him, and eventually his helmet will break, revealing his brain, because apparently he has his brain under that helmet right there. And you have to keep shooting. And guess what, Jova? We are going to get a health bar of sorts when his brain gets revealed.
Oh, you
Yes,
got
I guess
kidding me.
I guess you could say the developers were low on brains with this point.
Oh, wait. Is Cuphead out already, Dio?
No, it comes out in August.
September. But
September.
Close,
That's September.
It's
Oh,
close.
so let me guess, you saw a demo or something?
Yeah. Considering how long it's been developed, there you go.
Warning, cerebral tissue exposed, rerouting shields, the defense shield is active, 100%. There you go, Joe, but that's your health, 100%. So basically now you have to keep shooting, and occasionally that window will update showing how much percentage of health he still has. There you go, now he has 70.
But yeah, basically, Jova, there have been, considering how long the development has been, there have been countless showcase demos and stuff like that. So there have been, and it also updated that, because in the early stage it looked completely different, but then later on, kind of like with the Sly Fusing Time, thanks to the suggestion of players, they actually updated stuff like the hub world, how it looks, and even the HUD and the game over screen like that.
In all seriousness, having had part of my skin burned off by hot soup, I wonder what it's like to be set on fire.
Painful.
And hot.
Almost there.
And it smells bad.
Oh, 8%. There we go.
3%.
3%. Come on.
3, 2,
The game is just
Kaboom.
Also,
danger,
gotta love-
danger,
go-
danger, danger.
What? Oh,
gotta
come
love
on, you!
Gotta love how, despite the defense system being active, you still spray blood when you hit him.
Considers his
Alright.
outer membrane of the brain a shield.
That's just funny. I was playing
There we
Metroid
go.
the other day.
Hello, I'm Manus. What? Merry Christmas? What?
Yeah, he went ape shit.
Have
Oh,
Need to
it's
lie down for a
actually
while.
I think I saw sneaking them a 2001: Space Odyssey reference. Oh, I'll be back.
How?
Dun, dun, dun.
I doubt
Was that the
so.
final boss?
Yes.
Huh. How random.
Huh.
That's just the thing. This game in particular, this version of the game in particular is very random. You just find random people who just show
Yeah,
up.
honestly, the Shadow Queen should have been
Dark
the Dark
Queen.
Queen should have been the final boss. Confused with Ico, sorry. Or Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Look how many missiles I destroyed.
Jesus. Still going.
Did they
I could check
expect
my
anyone to
emails while
actually
this is still
complete
going.
the Game?
Michael Bay with frogs.
Last thing I want is a Battletoads movie adaptation from Michael Bay. Jesus.
And there we go.
No?
Now security
no.
spheres. Walkers.
This is still
Exploding drone.
half this part is just going to be the results screen.
Well, Dweeb's gotta show how big your dick is.
Yeah.
But why can't we just have them grouped off in like a big table or something?
Because we have to show every bit that the players have to struggle through to give them their proper reward.
You can't show every bit, just have it in a table.
Table. Jeez.
Will it surpass the
Third
missiles?
guy,
Oh, it
what's the
didn't.
weather like?
Look at that high score, increasing and increasing.
Gotta send. Well,
Oh, for God's sake!
Wow.
I say it was for Nintendo
Zitz is the
Power
master
because
of Mayhem.
This is the arcade version, so
Well,
it's
it's-
worthless to send that score.
Bad guys never seem to go quietly, so Robo's last shot reduces the Toad's sporty space cruiser to
Space
flaming jalopy.
Well, is it over?
Trying hard, but failing miserably, to maintain their cool, unflappable image, the Toads crash their bullet-ridden banger into an empty planet. Okay.
Are they hinting at a sequel?
As the Toads are the heroes in this game, they escape the mangled wreck completely unscathed.
Of course.
Of course.
Using the teleporters that they just happen to have with them, they travel back to base.
Oh, so
this
that
is
crashing
pointless
was
then.
completely pointless.
There you go. Totally awesome! You've whooped the Dark Queen's butt and thwarted her
Wait.
usual galaxy-dominating plans.
Wait, hold on. I was the main villain of this after all?
Apparently, yeah.
You were.
1 hour.
But I wasn't even the
And here
final
we go.
boss.
It's over.
Well,
What
too
the
bad.
hell, developers?
Well, maybe you shouldn't have. Well, yeah, no, don't you see, Your Highness? Your evil plan was so shitty, they relegated you to being not the final boss.
Anyway, down...
After all the enticement I had to do for the game over screen of the original Battletoads. By the way, go and see the game over screen of Battletoads and you'll see what that...
Mm-hmm.
Actually, why don't you tell the players, Pedro?
Yeah, okay, so that was Battletoads Arcade. Personally, while it is true that the structure of the story is weird, I still think this is still definitely a much more enjoyable game than the NES version, because at the very least, it doesn't have bullshit like Klinger Wingers and the Rat Race and stuff like that.
Presented by Rare, designs on the future.
Yeah. Hey, Rare,
Yeah.
enjoy your
Enjoy your
future.
future.
It's gonna
Be
be great.
great!
That will be
Kill
my
me.
ultimate revenge against Rare for this idiotic
So-
plan not involving me.
So, Pedro, AAA, is Aaron A. Aronson playing this game?
Anyway, top termination man. Your corpse count should set the Queen's rat and pig population back a few years. We just
Decades.
we killed an entire civilization. Pat yourself in the back.
So, Pedro,
Yeah, that's still not as bad as the Power Rangers in the Mega Drive game murdering Rita at the end.
so Pedro,
anyway-
how about you fill in the audience on what the game over screen for Battletoads was, since, you know,
You mean the NES game?
yeah.
I don't remember. What was it like?
Go ahead, Jova.
It said game
Basically-
over.
Basically, you had the Dark Queen kind of sexually taunting the player, shall we say, with
Because Nintendo.
And Nintendo allowed that?
well, hey, had to entice those players to...
Well, then
continue
again, they
somehow.
well then again they allowed Conker's Bad Fur Day, so I guess. Anyway, yeah, like I said, it's still a better game. Obviously, the bullshit stuff, of course, comes from the fact that it's an arcade game. You know how those work, but the game overall is still very creative, and the gameplay in general is also much more fun. It's just. So I still think, like, especially nowadays, considering the only way you can play it now is free emulation, this is definitely the definitive version of Battletoads. Screw the NES version. Tay, what do you think?
Yeah, pretty much what you said. Well, technically speaking, obviously we're two completely different beasts, so on paper, you should technically look at both to see the difference. In actuality, you should not check the NES version because it will only cause damage to your brain.
Well, to answer your question, Tay, officially, the only way to play these games now is through replay, which comes with both of them, so you have no choice but to get them too anyway.
But yeah, it's pretty much like you said. The arcade version toned the bullshit down, and as quote unquote the excuse of being arcade. So obviously it had to have you suck up those quarters, fucking ghosts and goblins. But Honestly, my one of my main point maybe is the fact that maybe it's because of this, but both the enemies and the bosses tend to be too much of sponges to be even for arcade standards. I understand that we need to not just destroy your lives, but also keep your time and everything. But I don't know if that's a bit too much for my taste. I think maybe toning down just a bit wouldn't make the game just okay. Of course, there's the quote-unquote weird narrative, but that is just because the game is structured in an episodic manner. So, and it's an arcade about, a story about anthropomorphic toads talking like 90s characters. So I'll pass on that. So basically, yeah, arcade version, best version, should have been toned down a bit, but still enjoyable. Go ahead, Weaves.
It's a game.
It's a game. Brilliant.
Although
Brilliant deduction, Whips.
Although honestly though, honestly the biggest issue with the game is how the levels end. I mean, really, you can't just put the enemies in a table or something. You have to show them all one at a time. It takes
More
forever.
like that.
Well, it makes you feel any better, Whips. You can't skip that.
I mean, could you imagine if you were at the Can you imagine if you were playing this game at the arcade, waiting for all that? All the rest of the kids in the queue would be
Actually,
really
Pedro
angry.
just ask you to skip, just tell you that you can skip. But maybe your point will be a good solution instead will be just speeding up the counter, not just do something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, all the kids in the queue would be like, "Come on, I want to play."
Well, honestly, Dwibs, speaking as a kid who was definitely prone for the arcade era, seeing your score tallied up after beating a game into drink your quarters was very satisfying.
True.
Yeah, it's still if it were any longer, it'd caused a massive queue.
Aside from
But
that,
other than that, it's a video game. It's nothing really bad about it, but nothing really special other than it's not the NES version.
Alright, go ahead, Jova.
That's all I got.
Go ahead, Jova.
all right.
Okay, so yeah, comparing this to the NES version, comparing apples to sour apples and oranges. Okay, yeah, the arcade version. Yeah, there's still a lot of BS stuff in it, and yeah, I kind of abhor the stupid thing of the shoehorning in the Dark Queen, even though she's really not the final boss, let alone really the main bad guy of this. But I will admit, it has nice animation for its time here and there. And the controls are still stiff, and levels still go on for too long, and
They do, yeah.
there's still no goddamn health bar, and okay, this isn't as historically well known as the NES version, but it won't crush your... Actually, it may crush your souls. It won't crush your souls as badly as the NES version.
How nice.
Basically, if you are looking for a bad time, by all means, play this right after playing the NES version, because the NES version, while worse... Yeah, it's worse. God dang it, Battletoads, you're not giving me much to compliment you about.
This game can be fun. Battletoads NES is not fun by any stretch of the imagination.
I guess it depends, but yeah.
It's way, like I said at the end of that playthrough, it's way too frustrating to be fun.
And this one also sort of prone to that.
Anyway,
Well, okay. Let's just agree that yeah, this is better than the NES game.
Well, yeah. Anyway, that was
Alright,
Battletoads Arcade. Tune in for...
Hold on, what about Dark Stars, folks?
Oh, okay, Dark
well,
Stars.
from what you've seen from this last level, pretty much, what do you think?
All I can say is I would definitely play this when I'm in a bad mood, especially with friends.
Yeah. This definitely does call for friends.
And I guess using the co-op feature actually ease the difficulty.
Yeah,
so.
it does.
Unlike in the NES game, but that's besides the point.
Anyway, that was Battletoads Arcade. For next on Rare Replay, who knows? Maybe Banjo-Kazooie. We'll see what happens.
See ya.
See you, everybody.
Yeah.